Before we begin, let me pull you into something real. Something most people feel, but never say out loud. I once watched someone I cared about break himself, trying to be the good one. He poured kindness into people who treated him like a spare option. Years later, the man I saw wasn't the same. His softness was gone. His innocence burned out. And he told me a sentence that carved itself into my mind. The world didn't become cruel. I just stopped pretending it wasn't. That moment hit me because it wasn't just his story. It was mine. And if you're listening, it's probably yours too. But wait, there's something deeper you haven't realized yet. Right now, two versions of you are fighting for control. One bends, explains, apologizes, and tries endlessly to be understood. This version keeps hoping others will finally treat you right if you're patient enough, kind enough, forgiving enough. But the more you give, the less you're valued. The other version, the one buried under years of disappointment, doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't argue. It withdraws quietly because it knows its worth. You've lived too long as the first version, and it's draining the life out of you. The world isn't killing your kindness. It's killing your lack of boundaries. And if you stay, I'll show you how to awaken the version that no one can misuse again. Transformation always begins with one brutal truth. Your heart wasn't the problem. The people you handed it to were. You've been leaking your energy into hands that never planned to hold it gently. You kept forgiving, hoping your love would teach them loyalty. But generosity without limits teaches people the wrong lesson, that you'll stay no matter how they treat you. Humans subconsciously devalue whatever doesn't demand effort. That's why the ones you poured into treated you like background noise. They weren't blind. They just never feared losing you. The painful lesson? People respect what they can lose. And you're about to learn how to make your absence louder than your presence ever was. People remember consequences, not kindness. Every time you tolerated disrespect, you trained someone to believe you were safe to mistreat. You explained your worth instead of enforcing it. That's why the good get shattered before the cold ever do. The world doesn't punish you for being kind. It punishes you for being kind without strategy. Those who drained you didn't care about your heart. They cared about your reactions, your compliance, your ability to bend. Now, that ends. Some people deserve distance instead of forgiveness. Some only understand silence, not explanations. And once you start pulling back, watch how the power flips in your favor. Pain has never lied to you. It exposes the truth people tried to hide behind sweet words. It reveals who took you for granted, who never cared, and who was only around for convenience. Pain strips you down to the version of yourself that cannot be manipulated anymore. Weak minds drown in pain because they spend their energy wishing the world was fair. But ruthless minds, they extract information from every wound. They ask, what advantage can I pull from this? Suffering can either destroy you or rebuild you into someone unrecognizable. And the moment you stop avoiding pain, you'll notice it's been sharpening you all along. The most dangerous people in the world aren't the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who survived it and learned from it. Betrayal teaches you who shouldn't have been trusted. Loss teaches you what was never secure. Rejection teaches you where not to place your value again. This is the secret. Pain is the training ground of the unbreakable. When you stop looking for closure and start looking for strategy, everything changes. You become someone who no longer reacts emotionally, but calculates. And calculation is control. But what comes next will make you far more untouchable than pain ever could. One of the greatest traps is the need to be understood. You keep explaining yourself, hoping others will finally get your heart, your intentions, your truth. But most people aren't listening to understand. They're listening to categorize you, judge you, or use your vulnerabilities later. The more you explain, the more predictable you become. Transparency makes you readable. Being readable makes you manipulable. The ruthless don't defend their choices. They move in silence, letting assumptions do the talking. Misunderstanding becomes a shield, not a threat. Let the world guess. Let them be confused. Because the less they understand you, the less they can control you. Explaining yourself is a defensive act. It signals you still care about their approval. But power is silent. It doesn't justify. It doesn't argue. It simply acts. When you stop clarifying your intentions, you instantly rise in psychological rank. People become uneasy when they can't read you. They start treating you with caution. Unpredictability breeds respect because humans fear what they cannot decode. You owe no explanation for your silence, your distance, your standards, or your evolution. Let them build their own stories about you. Your truth is too valuable to hand out casually. And the moment you embrace being misunderstood, you gain a level of freedom few ever taste. There is a point where chasing becomes self-betrayal. Begging for attention, affection, or closure is how strong people lose their power. The moment you chase what's walking away, you shrink. Detachment is not coldness. It's self-command. It's choosing your peace over temporary emotions. The one who detaches first controls the dynamic. Those who try to manipulate you rely on your reactions. Silence destroys that weapon. Indifference is a colder fire than hate, and it burns longer than love. You're about to learn the kind of detachment that makes manipulators fear losing access to you. When someone pulls away, the weak beg, the powerful observe. When someone disrespects you, the weak argue, the powerful disappear. This is the psychology of detachment. The moment you stop reacting, you become unreadable. When you're unreadable, you become feared. Your calm becomes unsettling. Your absence becomes punishment. Your silence becomes the loudest message you've ever sent. The truth is simple. Emotional independence is the highest form of control. And once you master it, you stop losing people. You start choosing who deserves to stay. But true power requires one more weapon: boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They separate what strengthens you from what sabotages you. The world has conditioned you to believe saying no makes you harsh. In reality, never saying no makes you easy to exploit. Every time you forgave without consequence, you taught people your peace was cheap. Boundaries restore the price. They tell the world you're not available for disrespect, manipulation, or emotional chaos. People don't get angry because you set boundaries. They get angry because your boundaries stop their control. And once you build these emotional walls correctly, only the worthy will ever reach you again. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about protecting what's sacred inside you. When you enforce limits calmly, you communicate quiet dominance. You show that your time, your energy, and your heart require effort to access. Forgiveness without consequences is submission. Access without respect is exploitation. The moment you stop rewarding bad behavior with your presence, your value skyrockets. Those who once took you for granted will feel the burn of your distance. Those who deserve you will rise to meet your standards. Boundaries don't make you difficult. They make you respected. And once you master this, silence becomes your next strategic tool. Silence is the most underestimated weapon in existence. People fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. But the powerful use silence to create psychological pressure. When you stay quiet, others reveal their intentions. They rush to fill the space with their fears, their insecurities, their motives. Meanwhile, you remain unreadable. That unreadability is dominance. The loudest one in the room is rarely the strongest, just the most insecure. The quiet one, the calculating one, the one who speaks only when necessary. That's the one people watch carefully. And once you adopt strategic silence, you become someone impossible to predict. Silence makes people project their assumptions onto you, and projections are powerful. They give you insight without you revealing anything. Every pause you hold, every word you choose not to speak, tightens your psychological grip on the room. In a world addicted to noise, silence is rare. Rare things are valuable. Valuable things are feared. Quiet confidence speaks louder than aggression. Calm energy unsettles insecure people. And a silent reaction to provocation destroys egos faster than anger ever could. Your power grows every time you choose restraint over reaction. But even silence isn't enough without strategic loyalty. Loyalty is only powerful when it's selective. When you give loyalty unconditionally, people stop appreciating it and start expecting it. They assume you'll stay no matter what. That's how betrayal becomes easy for them. The world doesn't move on loyalty. It moves on interest. Alliances shift. Intentions change. People evolve. The ruthless understand this and stay adaptable. Your loyalty must align with your growth, not your guilt. Never attach your loyalty to a person. Attach it to principles. Those who expect blind loyalty are always the ones who deserve it the least. And once you learn to give loyalty strategically, you become someone no one can chain. Predictability is the death of power. When people know you're endlessly loyal, you become easy to manipulate. They stop fearing your withdrawal. They start assuming your forgiveness. Instead, your loyalty should be something people feel lucky to earn. Something that can be lost if disrespected. Something they must match with effort, not entitlement. Never let anyone believe you belong to them. You belong to yourself first. Your allegiance should never cost you your independence. Because true power emerges when no one can claim ownership over your mind or your decisions. Becoming untouchable is not about being heartless. It's about being sovereign. It's the stage where nothing external can shake your inner world. People can insult you, ignore you, provoke you, abandon you, and you stay centered. This level of strength isn't natural. It's earned from every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment that forced you to rebuild yourself. Untouchability begins when you stop needing external validation. Approval becomes irrelevant. Opinions lose their effect. You stop being controlled because you've disconnected from the need to be liked. And once you reach this stage, people start sensing a shift in your aura. When you no longer react emotionally, the world loses its grip on you. Manipulators can't provoke you. Narcissists can't bait you. Energy vampires can't drain you. You've removed the emotional buttons they used to press. This is inner mastery, the highest form of power. It's the quiet confidence of someone who knows they cannot be shaken. Your energy becomes a fortress. Your presence becomes heavier, sharper, more intentional. People tread carefully around someone who isn't easily influenced. And that caution is respect disguised as fear. But there's still one final evolution, the one that changes everything. To become truly untouchable, you must let go of the last chains, the need to justify, to explain, to be forgiven, to be chosen. These are emotional debts you owe to no one. You stop carrying resentment because you no longer expect anything from anyone. You stop seeking closure because you give it to yourself. You stop waiting for recognition because your value no longer depends on external applause. This is emotional sovereignty, when your center of gravity moves inward, not outward. Nothing outside you can break what's anchored within you. And once you hold this inner power, the world starts adjusting to you, not the other way around. Every challenge that once crushed you now becomes a tool. Every betrayal becomes a data point. Every obstacle becomes a test you can pass with calm, strategy, and clarity. You no longer crumble under pressure. You study it. You analyze patterns, motives, behaviors. This is how powerful minds grow, not through comfort, but through confrontation with reality. Your confidence becomes undeniable because it's built on proof of survival. People sense this. They feel it the moment you walk into a room. The energy of someone who cannot be manipulated. And this transformation prepares you for the next level of self-command. Now, you walk differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. Your old patterns no longer pull you. Your old wounds no longer define you. You've stopped bending to keep the peace. You've stopped shrinking to be liked. You've stopped accepting crumbs from those who could never match your loyalty. This is the version of you that moves without apology. The version that doesn't chase but attracts. The version that demands effort without raising its voice. People who once underestimated you won't recognize you now, because you're becoming the version of yourself that commands silence, not attention. You've burned the old version of yourself, the one that was easy to exploit. In its place stands someone who is calm, calculated, and centered. Someone who moves with intention, not impulse. With boundaries, not desperation. With confidence, not fear. This version doesn't need to announce its transformation. People will feel it in your absence, your silence, your presence, your standards. Growth doesn't require permission. Power doesn't require approval. And strength reveals itself quietly. But there's still a final truth you must accept before you fully step into this new identity. The world doesn't respect softness unless it's backed by strength. It doesn't respect goodness unless it's protected by boundaries. It doesn't respect loyalty unless it's paired with self-respect. For years, you played the role of someone who wanted peace. Now, you understand peace must be protected, not begged for. You have the tools now, the discipline, the mindset, the clarity. You are no longer shaped by the world. You're shaping your world. And once you embrace this truth, you become someone the world cannot break. If you've listened this far, you already know the old you is gone. The version that chased love, begged for clarity, tolerated disrespect, and explained endlessly. That version served its purpose. It taught you what you will never allow again. You're stepping into a future where your value is non-negotiable. Your presence is earned. Your energy is protected. This is the rebirth, the rise of the untouchable version of you. But there's one more thing you need to hear before this transformation is complete. You are now choosing ruthlessness in its purest form. Not cruelty, but control. Not detachment from humanity, but detachment from disrespect. Not coldness, but clarity. You are no longer moved by chaos. You move through it like someone who has survived storms others would collapse under. Your heart is no longer fragile, it's armored. Your silence is no longer weakness, it's strategy. Your presence is no longer overlooked, it's commanding. Remember this final truth. You don't need to be loved to be powerful. You don't need to be understood to be respected. You don't need to be perfect to be untouchable. And from this moment forward, you are